Hello there guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to Survive Russia. So a few days ago, outside, we are in the army tent now, right? I made a little video on how to make tinder with the axe and the knife and all that good stuff. It sparked a lot of comments about how I sharpen my axes and knives and this and that. I have done sharpening stuff before, but since I'm, you can say, confined to do some videos here at the homestead for a while, since I'm recovering from COVID, then why not make a video on how to sharpen everything? We have the traditional Siberian native knife here, and here we have traditional ordinary grinds, what do we call them? I don't know. And here we have a few axes. I'll try and show you how to make this stuff here, like what I call Woodsmans-Sharp, right? I mean, there are many channels and guys dedicated to what you can say, make the edges ideal and super sharp, and especially for axes, I think that it's not really needed. It's not really needed. It has to be Woodsman-Sharp. They have to be sharp enough to be safe. The sharper your knife is, the safer it is, but at some point, sharpness, especially on axes, it doesn't really matter any longer. Anyway, not from a user's standpoint. And I use knives a lot. I use knives every day. But let's try and stop the blah blah blahing, and excuse me if I'm sounding a little bit out of breath sometimes, because I am. But that's just how COVID works. And I think we're actually going to start with telling you how I learned to sharpen knives. I learned to sharpen knives by one of my grandfathers. My grandfather, he was an engineer at the Danish naval base, Holmen. He taught me how to fish, he taught me how to sharpen knives, and it's most likely an old school way of sharpening knives because I never see this method used on YouTube. Alright, so I mainly sharpen by hand and don't use any fancy tools or anything like that, just whetstones, and yeah, I have a little workshop with some guides on, but I rarely use them, but it's an awesome little tool. And here in my pocket I have a surprise item, which is a super awesome little thing for straightening out your knife and so on. So we have a whetstone here from Petrograd Tools. It's a Russian company. So why not go for some of the more traditional grinds? It has escaped me right now what they are called, this type of grinds here, but we just call them traditional grinds. This is a cold steel SRK. Many think that it stands for survival rescue knife, but it actually stands for survival Russian knife. This is a Feldkniven X1B. The B just means that it has a fancy coating on it, but they are both classic grinds. Then we have the classic Siberian knife here with a lens-shaped side and a straight side here with this little funky guy. I'm going to show you how to show that or sharpen that for real, like how the natives does it. But these guys here, we have a little secondary grind here, right? So how do we find the angle on these guys without messing it up? Because we of course do not want to have one side at 20 degrees, another side at 35, or this and that. So let me show you how we do that. A few words about my granddad. My granddad, he got his, he was an engineer at a naval base in Denmark. He finished his education there at the naval base during the Second World War. He was like 20 years old when he finished. As an engineer, he served at the base 48 years. He was responsible for the two diesel-electric submarines we have in the Danish Navy. Or maybe they still have them, I don't know. But he was just not anybody. He was a very skilled guy. And he taught me to sharpen this way here. So, what do? We take our whetstone here, weten it up a little bit, and we change the camera. So out on the big YouTube, we often see guys sharpening their knives something like this. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Right, that's not my grandfather's style. He would go like this, forward, until you can feel that the knife is biting into the stone, and then just pull it backwards. Try and keep the same angle, pull the knife backwards. You can see it's a 4000 grit stone, and it's peeling off material from this Sandmai 3 steel here with a 3D, not 3D, but 3D laminate. What we do like this, we turn it around, raise it, and we can start to feel it biting, and just pull back, as much as needed. When he was done with that, he would take it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to break off the burr. We can try the other guy here, the fældkniven, and I'll try and demonstrate again. This is a little bit shorter, but as you can see, the more we lay it down, we are not taking any material off the edge, so to speak, right? We need to raise it. So we try this again. You can feel here it's not biting at all, right? Whoop. Now we can feel it, and now I can see here the approximate degree, and then it's pretty easy. It's not gonna be 100%, but it's gonna be convex over time, which is always awesome. But we turn it around, lay it down, raise it. It bites here, and just pull it back. Just pull it back. One more time. Break the burr 2 or 3 times. So after we've done this, we of course have to strop our knife. And stropping our knife is most likely the most, not most likely, it is the most important part of sharpening your knife. My strop is in the house, back in the house, but I have this little guy here. It's a super awesome device. I had it for years and years and years, and it actually has a little leather strap here. And we could add some stropping paste, red or green or blue or whatever, but it is actually not always that needed. But stropping takes a little bit more of a steep angle, right? And I'll say 50 times or something on either side. Pulling, of course not cutting, because you'll cut the leather then, right? But this is definitely gonna kind of polish the edge, and if we're using some polishing paste, it's of course super awesome. First of all, in my opinion anyway, your knife should be able to ride on your nail like this without falling at a pretty steep angle, right? Be careful if you have a really sharp knife that doesn't cut through your nail, because that is not awesome. And dragging it on the nail here, you can also feel any unevennesses, if we can call it like that. But that's anyway one thing that I go for. And then if we have a good light source, we can of course stand and look at the knife blade, see if we have any reflections here on the bevel itself. And if we don't have that, it's normally just good to go. And that's actually what there is to it, to sharpen a regular knife by hand without any magic. Right? We just lay it down here and just feel, when does it bite? It bites around here. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Do the same over here, pull back. And then of course you raise it again, break off the burr. 1, 2, 3 times. My granddad, he did it sometimes only once. And stropping it on a leather belt. And that's it. There's nothing more to it actually. So let's get on with the traditional Siberian knife and the X's. Because an X is an X is an X, right? But it's not always like that. If you should happen to own a Siberian native knife with a elliptical side on the one side and a flat side on the other side here with this big groove in it, then I'll show you how to sharpen it and how the Siberians, they sharpen them. They simply just take the knife like this. And here we have a stone. It's a very, very fine stone. I'll say most likely 6,000-8,000 or something. It just says ultra fine. But we have the flat side here. And how they do this, so they just drag like this on the flat side. Sometimes I drag a little bit towards myself also, just like 5% or something, if you can say like that. And then they turn it around, And here's a little bit tricky, but because here you have to find out where it's actually touching the bevel, and you just drag it like this. And that's how they sharpen them. No back and forth, all this funky stuff, but they have a cool trick, because the Siberian Tribesmen, they like progress and development. So here we have a little thingy I said I had with me. This little guy here is, I'm not sure what it is made of, but I would guess it's kind of a tungsten carbide or something, because it's from a, a thingy for a lathe, and it's extremely hard. And that they also bring with them sometimes. A little piece of metal which is extremely hard, and this will straighten out any edge. And this little guy here you can use on all knives. So in an emergency you can always bring a little piece of tungsten carbide from a lathe, and you will be golden to straighten out any problems on your knives. That is for dang sure. It of course works like a charm on a Scandi grind. We have 3 different types of axes here. This is a traditional Siberian style of axe. It has the same grind, if we can call it like that, as the knife. It's rounded on this edge here and completely flat on the other side. Handle is square. I made this myself. Russian farmer, carpenter's axe, heavy head, short, stout handle, convex grind of course. The Siberian one, there's like a half convex, and this is just a total stock Hulterforce axe, Akdor. Very slim, right? But as I said, axes, in my opinion, they don't need to be super sharp. What I like to use is actually this field sharpener here, because it has these magnetic guys here, and removing them is super easy. Just to, I sharpen my axes like this. Some are doing like this and that, but I do like this. Because from this side here I can see where I'm at, so to speak, at the angle, and I know that I'm pushing the material out, right? I'm doing the same here, pushing the material out, and I can see exactly where I'm removing it from, and I can adjust the angle of attack just as I want to, and then I can just do like this at the very end. And break off the burr. This is only 600. I have to say, sometimes, of course, as I said, I'll take the 4000, but that's more simply just to polish the, not the edge really, but the wider part here. I'll show you on the carpenter's axe here. You can see the carpenter's axe. I don't know if it goes on the camera, but you can see we have like a 10-12 millimeter area. And of course, the more smooth it is, the better it will chop through stuff. But the basic, the same thing. Just do like this. 4000, doesn't remove that much material really, but it polishes nicely, and then we can always go back. We can feel where it bites. And we break off the burr, and we can of course drop it a little bit if we want to. Even with the 600 grit and a little bit of 4000, the axe gonna do exactly what the axe is gonna do, because there's no need to polish your axe for woodsman's use to 10, 12, 20,000, because once you start to use it, it's anyway gonna be knocked down to, I don't know, 4,000-6,000 minimum, depending on what kind of wood you're chopping, of course. But in my area, the hardest wood I'll run into is maple, most likely. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to try and make it super sharp unless it's your hobby. The same goes for the native axe here, which I'm pretty sure not many of you have. It's a really unique system. As I said, it's completely flat on this side here and convex on this side. And it's of course the bevel is of course made according to right and left-handed users. So if you're a right-handed user, you want the bevel here on the right side. For the native axe, I just have the stone straight because it's flat on this side here, right? On this side is a little bit more tricky. You can here it's not biting yet, we can see, but doing it like this, I can feel exactly when it's biting and not biting. And then I will of course polish the upper part here, which is not the cutting edge. And this is only 600, so we can take the other side of our 4,000 and make it nice and smooth. So it gets a little bit better each time we maintain our cutting tool here, and the more I angle it, the more I will be able to feel that it is biting into the edge, if that's what I want. So guys, that's basically it for this little sharpening thing here. So please check the link in the description, please consider supporting the channel and all that good stuff. Until next time, get out and train, get it done, do something awesome, and be prepared for most likely a few more videos here from the Homestead. So I can get up and running on 100%. But awesome to be back, guys. See you.